I never want to experience this feeling again. And fortunately, I haven't and I didn't on international play. I think the difference is you have to be committed to it, right? You have to be committed. I think in order to have the same team for the World Cup and the Olympics, it has to be a commitment.
Glad to have you with us in Eurohoops. It's been a long time coming, and let's start from the get-go. How the FIBA Melo legend was created, and how do you cope with this?
I don't know how it was created. I don't know. I accept it. I enjoy it. But I think just the fact that, the fans actually saw me kind of throughout the whole journey and not just one Olympics or here, like they saw the whole career of international USA Melo. So you get a chance to grow and you get a chance to learn and you get a chance to see and build with that player or that fan. So I think that's just what happened over time is you go from seeing somebody defeated and losing and then the comeback story, the redeem team, and then 12. So it was a whole journey, and I think that's what people respect about me.
You give me a great assist. So looking back to what happened in 2006 with Greece,
Yeah.
and the game that kickstarted the whole redeem thing situation. What will be the advice that you will give now to your younger self after being in Saitama, losing that semifinal to Greece?
It would be the same advice the same thing that I told myself back then. I never want to experience this feeling again. And fortunately, I haven't and I didn't on international play, but it was that moment that I told myself I never want to experience this again. So I would tell my younger self, that's not an experience you want to go through.
Was that the ultimate wake-up call about what FIBA basketball means? Because you have been also in Athens.
Yeah, so I was in Athens in '04 for the Olympics, and then to come back and participate in '06 in Japan for FIBA. It was two different worlds. It's Olympic and FIBA World Cup is totally two different worlds. So the fact that it was like, okay, we lost in the Olympics, we have an opportunity to come back and play for the World Cup. Like that's something totally different. So, and then you lose that, so now you lose both. You lose both events around the world in the span of 2 years. So now you really have to evaluate and get back to the table and say, what is going to be the change that we have to make?
Do you remember any of the names of that team? Sofo, Scorchianitis.
Yes.
Big
yes.
Sofo, Baby
Big
Shaq.
Sofo, yes, Baby Shaq, absolutely, Baby Shaq. I'm trying to remember the guard that was on the team. The guard had a very good game against us.
Theo Papaloukas.
Papa Lucas, fine.
Okay.
Papa Lucas, yes. So Papa Lucas was somebody who, at that time, I was looking like, okay, this is a different type of game. Like he's playing at a different pace, he's playing at a different style of game, and that was like the first time we've seen, guards in international play a certain type of way in the game that we wasn't even there yet as far as pick and rolls and reads and things. Like we were just playing offense and running sets, but they was just exploiting us in the pick and roll in '06.
Knowing the importance of shooting in today's game,
Yes.
do you feel that you were a little bit earlier in your start of the career compared to your value in today's game?
Well, I'm a student of the game, so I study all the Olympics, I study all the World Cup, and I watch international play all the time. So I understood that shooting, you need to shoot. You need to be able to knock down a three. You need to be able to space the court. You need to be able to give your point guards and guys who are slashers and drivers to the basket and big men who's in the post. You have to be able to play off of that. So again, I just found my role, and I said, I'm just gonna stand out here, and when I'm open, I'm gonna be ready to knock the shot down. So,
What's your biggest memory from the Olympics and from the FIBA World Cup?
so I only was fortunate enough to play in one World Cup in '06, and it was a terrible feeling. So I do that. But the Olympics is totally different because I had a terrible feeling in the Olympics in '04, but I had the best feelings in '08, '12, and '16. So it's a big difference in the emotions and the feelings when it comes to FIBA and the Olympics.
What makes FIBA basketball special compared to the NBA?
I think that the intimacy of FIBA basketball, I think the fans of FIBA basketball, I think the style of play is totally different. I think the way that teams prepare in FIBA is totally different. The game is shorter. You don't have, it's 8 less minutes that you're actually playing. The rules, some rules are a lot different. They're getting better with the rules of trying to make it, a little bit more even and universal, but the rules are totally different. It's a lot more physical. No difference of 3 seconds is a big key over here. Whereas in the NBA, it's a lot of space. It's a lot of, nobody's in the paint anymore. Everybody's around the three-point line. So it's a big difference in style of play.
You just justified your nickname about your knowledge of FIBA basketball, but I want to ask the following thing. We have seen the cycle being repeated all over again. It's almost a vicious cycle. You have a great but not invisible team in the FIBA World Cup. Mm-hmm. Something goes south, mm-hmm. and then you have a new version of the redeemed team in the Olympics. How do you think this cycle can break in the US and the top stars will have an incentive to be present in the FIBA World Cup?
I think the difference is you have to be committed to it, right? You have to be committed. And I think in order to have the same team for the World Cup and the Olympics, it has to be a commitment. Like for us, we committed for 3 years and we committed to international play and said we're going to, whatever happens in these 3 years, we're committed. Whether it's World Cup, whether it's FIBA Americas, Olympics, we're going to compete in everything in these 3 years. And I think if you start getting guys to commit and be a part of and really putting that structure around it, you'll start seeing the same teams where you just maybe plug and play one player here, you identify what you need to identify, you change it here. So I just think once you go away from that type of structure, you start letting people in, you start letting the doors open and different things start to happen.
Do you feel that the perception is changing, especially among the NBA stars, about the FIBA World Cup?
Yes, I think we, as athletes, as American athletes, basketball players, I think we're starting to understand like the FIBA World Cup is major. And you're starting to hear it a little bit more in America. Okay, we got to go to the World Cup. What are we going to do for the World Cup? And the Olympics is something totally different, but the World Cup, I do believe that you'll start seeing, similar teams in Olympics and in World Cup.
As FIBA Melo, how do you feel about FIBA KD?
FIBA KD, everybody got a name. I love it. I mean, it just goes to show you, I'm sure he has the same approach, right? It's like, he don't have to do much. You play smarter, you shoot when you open, you pass it when you're not, and the game becomes super simple to you, and it becomes easier and becomes an easier flow, and then your skill set and what you do best will always shine.
Did you have the chance to talk with him after his new record?
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's a close friend of mine, so yeah. Those things, those records are like, especially in FIBA, it's like with the amount of style of players that's coming in and the talent that's coming in on a year-to-year basis. Like those records would be, you know what I mean? It's like those records was going to be broken because that's just the level of talent that we have. And if you commit to Team USA and FIBA and just the World Cup and the Olympics, like you have an opportunity to do that. But that's just a testament to himself and myself of just like the level of commitment we had to play in these FIBA games because we wanted it. And now you see, who sits up there at the top as a result of that.
And last but not least, what are your expectations about the next FIBA World Cup in Qatar, and not only about the organization, but also for the team that the US will present?
Yes, so I don't know what team is going to be represented in Doha, but I will say that I'm actually looking forward to, being a part of that and just being there and working and, again, just doing my job and doing what I could do to continue to grow this game. So I'm really looking forward to spending a lot of time in Doha over these next couple months and these next couple years.